Hello guys and welcome back on my channel. My name is Ted and today we're gonna talk about a master of art and design. We're gonna talk about Paul Klee. Paul Klee was born in Münchenbuchsee in Switzerland in the 8th December 1879 as the second child of German music teacher Hans Wilhelm Klee and Swiss singer Ida Marie Frick. After a number of changes in residence, Klee's family moved into their own house in Bern. Paul's life has always been fulfilled with music. He also married a pianist teacher and received violin lessons. He was so talented that at the age of 11 had an invitation to play as extraordinary member for the Bern Music Association. In his early years, he followed his parents' wishes and focused on becoming a musician. He decided on the visual arts during his teen years, partially out of rebellion and partially because modern music lacked meaning for him. At 16, Klee's landscape drawings already shown considerable skills. Around 1897, he started his diary, which he kept until 1980 and provided scholars with valuable insight into his life and thinking. During his school years, he heavily kept school books, drawing caricature and already demonstrating mastery with lines and volumes. His parents were reluctant, but he began studying art at the Academy of Fine Arts in Munich in 1898 with two respectable teachers. Heinrich Knier, Serbian landscaping and still life master, most known to be the only artist to have painted Adolf Hitler in life, and Franz Ritter von Stuck, German painter, sculptor and paint maker with several awards won all over the world. His finest piece to mention among the others should be Villa Stuck, built in 1898 and now a museum and a historic house in Munich. Decorated by Stuck itself in a striking Art Nouveau/Art Deco style, in contrast to the classical architecture of the exterior. We will focus more on Stuck and his work in a separate video, so don't forget to subscribe, click the like button and click the bell icon to be always aware when new videos will be uploaded. Coming back to Klee. Despite his mentor, after receiving his fine art degree, he stated, "I realized that I probably will never learn to paint, as he was excellent at drawing, but seems to lack any natural color sense." So he decided to be a magazine illustrator, but he failed. Meanwhile, he was creating and trying to find a new approach to his art. In 1910, he had his first solo exhibition in Bern, which traveled to 3 Swiss cities. It's the start of something. In January 1911, he met Alfred Kubin in Munich and through Kubin the art critic Wilhelm Hausenstein, and in autumn he made an acquaintance with August Mack and Vasily Kandinsky. The latter was with Franz Marc, the founder of the almanac Der Blaue Reiter, and in winter Klee joined the editorial team. The association opened Klee's mind to modern theory of color. His travels to Paris in 1912 also exposed him to ferment cubism and the pioneering example of abstract art. Rather than copying what others were doing, he began working at his own color experiments and did some primitive landscapes, including in the quarry and houses near the gravel pit. Soon he discovered the style which connects drawing and the realm of color. In 1914 he visited Tunisia and was impressed by the quality of the light there. He wrote, "Color has taken possession of me. No longer do I have to chase after it. I know that it has hold on me forever. Color and I are one. I'm a painter." With that realization, he stopped painting nature and delved into the cool romanticism of abstraction. Klee added color to his abilities in draftsmanship. One example of this synthesis is the Bavarian Don Giovanni. After returning home, he gave birth to his first pure abstract painting in the style of Kairouan. The color rectangle became his basic building block, which Klee combined to create a color harmony analogous to a musical composition. Sometimes he uses complementary pairs of color, and other time dissonant, reflecting his connection with musicality. Few weeks later, World War I began, and the death of his friends, Macle and Mark, prompted him to vent his anguish on pen and ink lithographs on war. Want to mention that for the idea. He has never been directly involved in the war, and in 1917 he was transferred to the Royal Bavarian Flying School in Gersthofen to work as a clerk for the treasurer until the end of the war. Thanks to this quiet employment, he continued painting and making researches, and his art was selling well. His Habbo of that year is a concrete representation of his technique researches. 2 years later, he secured a 3-year contract with dealer Hans Goltz, whose influential gallery gave Klee major exposure. Here, Walter Gropius met the art and philosophy of Klee and asked him to join his project. So from 1921 to 1931, he taught at the Bauhaus school. In 1922, Kandinsky joined the staff and resumed his friendship with Klee. After the experience at the Bauhaus, he moved to Düsseldorf Academy, but in 1933, Nazis and Gestapo persecuted him, so he and his family moved to Switzerland, his homeland and natural country where he continued working. Actually, during that year, Klee was at his peak. His Ad Parnassum is considered a masterpiece and the best example of pointillistic style. He also finally met Pablo Picasso, whom he greatly admired. Unfortunately, he began experiencing the symptoms of his scleroderma, a fatal disease which made him pass away the 29th June 1914, not before giving the birth of his last masterpiece called Death and Fire, featuring a skull in the center with the German word for death, Tod, appearing in the face. You might ask, why was a painter so important to teach in a school of architects and designers like the Bauhaus School? The answer is because he was a true pedagogic art and teaching lover. Long before the association with the Bauhaus, he saw the creation of art as a complex cognitive perceptive activity which he was determined to explore. He began collecting child art not solely for its innocent charm, but to bring him near to an understanding of the primal source of all creation. Walter Gropius gave priority to the visionary powers of an artist's imagination and ideas, over and above material and technical consideration. The students were to have more than technical knowledge. The theory courses had to provide modern theory and avant-garde mastery. Paul Klee and Vasily Kandinsky were individually responsible for their basic and advanced theory courses. Klee presented his teaching under 3 headings: Basic Theory, Theory of Form Production, Theory of Pictorial Form. His formal elements of art were points, lines, planes, and spatial energy. He had high regard for honest self-expression, intuition, relation of symbolism to creation and understanding of nature to achieve the essence of things. Creation began with the point that self is set in motion, by becoming a line, which in turn was displaced by plane formation that moved into spatial dimension. He concurred with the Oscar Wilde statement that all art is at once surface and symbol. Felt constricted by language, he had to settle for Gestaltung, using form to express his inner dynamism and reducing all his form and symbols to the simplest economy. He learned from Cubism that object could be abstracted and represented at the same time, and excited with the aims of futurism, dynamism, movement, and speed represented simultaneously. He avoided statical pictorial representation, but he knew that pure dynamic art was impossible in the terrestrial realm. therefore employed pictorial devices that would produce a static dynamic synthesis in pictorial form. He divided his logic into analysis and synthesis. Visible penetration can be achieved in two ways, through material means and through intuitive means. A common way of seeing through the outside of form to their inside is by dissecting them. Fine optical instruments like microscope and X-rays can be used to gain a better understanding of their inner nature. Once this knowledge is gained, inferences about the inner interior of an object can be made from the exterior appearance. Klee attempted to develop total vision, which is a synthesis of outward seeing and inner perception. And that's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button and click the bell icon to be always aware when new videos will be uploaded. See you next time. Bye.